Welcome to the last lecture of week 3, in which you will learn about health and comfort at home, based on the home questionnaire that you were asked to complete some weeks ago. From the lectures given this week on indoor air quality, it is clear that there are many pollutants and many sources of pollutants in that indoor air. Each source can contribute to several pollutants, of which the concentration indoors, and therefore also the exposure, can vary over time. While exposure to pollutants can lead to a whole range of effects, ranging from simple annoyance to death, effects can be caused by more than one pollutant. This makes it very difficult to pinpoint one pollutant of a health effect that you might experience in your home. Next to that, it seems that not only the exposure to a pollutant determines how one responds to that exposure, but also other factors, whether of psychological, physiological, personal, social, or environmental nature. This means that when a person is suffering from health effects, it is important to consider all possible stressors and factors, positive or negative, that might be responsible for that. In the first week of this course, I presented to you 3 categories of indicators that can be used to assess indoor environmental quality: the occupant-related indicators, the dose or environmental indicators, and the building-related indicators. While the dose indicators provide concentrations of measured pollutants or indicators of air quality, such as carbon dioxide, in the occupant category, emphasis is being put on indicators that can give us information on the effects of stressors, as well as possible stressors or risk factors for these effects. In the building category, certain measures or characteristics of a building are identified that could be considered as possible stressors or sources of stressors. To get a better understanding of how diseases and disorders are associated with certain occupant and building-related stressors or risk factors at home, therefore the so-called home questionnaire was developed. This questionnaire comprises of questions on personal factors, such as age and gender, questions on your health and comfort, questions about the building you live in, its surroundings, the occupants, and their activities, possible water problems that occur or have occurred, questions about materials, furnishings and furniture that you have, and the possibilities for ventilation. Now, in the spring of 2015, 4 groups of students from 3 universities in the Netherlands were recruited for the home questionnaire: the TU Delft, Wageningen University, and the Technical University of Eindhoven. In total, 399 students completed the questionnaire. From the self-reported complaints on their own home was found that mainly air quality and thermal comfort were a problem for them in the winter. The most reported building-related symptoms that the students experienced in the last 3 months, at least once every 2-3 weeks, that go away when away from home, were sneezing, 30%, stuffy nose, 27%, and dry throat, 21%. And with respect to their health status, it was seen that the most reported disease was rhinitis. 33% declared to suffer from rhinitis in the last 12 months. To find out possible causes for this, self-reported rhinitis was selected to link to self-reported characteristics of the students and their homes by multivariate logistic regression analysis. Potential personal factors accounted for in this analysis were gender, current smoker, yes versus no, family allergic rhinitis, and negative events, because they have been shown in the past to be a risk factor for suffering from rhinitis. Although important, age was not considered because the standard deviation was very small. After full adjustment, the regression model revealed that having relatives with rhinitis showed the largest risk factor for having rhinitis. The risk increased with a factor 5.27, while training exercise and having no pets lowered the risk, respectively with a factor 0.5 and 0.37. What is interesting is the increase of the risk with a factor of 2.26 with the presence of less than 1 year old furniture made of medium density fiberboard in the bedroom, while opening the window in the bedroom more than once a week reduced the risk for rhinitis with a factor of 0.55. And the presence of air conditioning showed a tendency of a decreased risk on having rhinitis. These results indicate that both the presence of pollutants in the air and personal factors increased the risk. In the past years, this questionnaire has been completed by students from all over the world. In the Netherlands, by students from the TU Delft, in Taichung, Taiwan, by students of Fang Chai University, in Concepcion, Chile, by students from the Bio Bio University, in Paramaribo, Suriname, by students from the Anto de Kam University, and in Beijing, China, by students from Tsinghua University. What is interesting to observe from the outcome is that for the personal factors, as well as for the lifestyle, significant differences were found among the students from the different cities. While the average in Beijing was 19 years old, in Concepcion it was 30. In Paramaribo, 33% was male, while in Beijing, 71%. Almost all students from Beijing exercised, while in Paramaribo and Delft, only respectively 44% and 58% exercised. Also for health status, building-related symptoms and complaints on indoor environmental quality, differences were observed. In this table, you see the diseases students reported to suffer from in the last 12 months. Again, rhinitis jumped out, and therefore, similar to the analysis performed for rhinitis on the Dutch students in 2015, a multivariate analysis was performed to link rhinitis with possible risk factors. Again, the relation with family rhinitis and having no pets was shown. This time, age, location, urban versus rural, sweeping the floor, less than once per week versus at least once per week, and having exposed bookshelves for important risk factors for having rhinitis. Again, several pollutants as well as personal factors seem to contribute to having rhinitis. To summarize this lecture, a home questionnaire was developed including occupant and building-related risk factors. From completed questionnaires by students from different cities in the world, it is clear that health and comfort effects can differ, and that it is important to consider all possible risk factors when causes for effects are studied. Thank you for your attention.